Episode 3 of the Monday Night Football Premier League highlights podcast. No other place you should be on a Monday night apart from here with myself and Shano. How are you, mate? You all right?
Not too bad, Tom. Are you?
Yeah, all good. You sorted your lighting out? We were sat on here at 7 o'clock waiting for you, mate.
Sorted the light out just about. I think so. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a bit shiny on the top of the head, but we'll get through that one.
No
I need
worries.
one of those little sorts to come and sort of dry my head off.
Yeah.
Oh, that, we're all right.
Nice one, mate. Nice weekend?
Yeah, good weekend. Nice weather.
Yeah.
Got down the beach. It was nice out there with the boys. Bit of on the old paddle board, which wasn't too bad.
Would you go down to the wetsuit and all that?
Nah, I didn't really get on the paddle board. I just give it a big one. The boys get on the paddle board. I watch.
Oh, nice one. You didn't no work then weekend, no?
No, weekend off. That was quite nice. What do you mean back to work today? It's just always a drain getting on a Monday, though, isn't it?
Oh, mate, tell me. I was a bit jaded this morning as well. I went to Hastings yesterday to see my wife's my father-in-law, and I ended up having a few beers on the front. And this morning I was definitely feeling it.
Oh, it's never good beers on a school night, is it? To be honest.
No, mate. But working from home now, mate, it's all good. I can sit there in my shorts and t-shirt, so very comfortable. But another busy weekend of sport, mate.
Big weekend, all the football again, innit? It was a not a bad weekend. Not particularly good for Spurs fans, but we'll probably get on that one later. Do you mean? I'm not going to start straight away with doom.
Mate, a couple of weeks ago, you were top of the league, gradually working your way down, going in the wrong direction. But
I was top of the league. Do you mean? 3 games in, 9 points, no goals conceded. Roll on 2 games, 6 goals against, no goals scored.
Absolutely. And Cristiano Ronaldo has still got more goals than the whole of the Arsenal team put together. I love that stat.
And he's probably going to get a few more, to be honest, isn't he?
Yeah, he's looking good. He's not come back for a payday or holidays. He's here to hopefully win a trophy. But no, he looks sharp, mate. Another sort of shot, and then it leads on to a tap in. But yeah, he's going to be right up there. I wouldn't surprise me. I was going to have a bet on him being top goal scorer when he first signed, but I'd imagine the odds wouldn't have been great anyway. But he's looking good, mate.
Yeah. How's he with? What's his sort of like injury history? He's what do you mean? Is he out for a couple of games? Does he go missing in any part of the season for like 3, 4, 5 weeks? He seems to be all right from what I can remember. It's not really like a sick note. It's not like a Darren Anderton, is he? He's sort of like out for 8 weeks, 12 weeks.
No, I think he's just relentless, mate. I can't. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't remember Ronaldo being out for a long period of time. Obviously, yeah, he picks up the odd knock. But when you think of players being out for lengthy periods like Harry Kane, 2/3 of every season his ankle goes, and then he's out. Ronaldo, he seems to be there every season, even the latest parts of the season as well. When you think of like Champions League games and stuff, he's always there, banging in goals. But no, mate, I don't think he's ever really that injured, and I think that's why he's so consistent as well, because he doesn't have lengthy layouts.
Yeah, I think I was just hoping a little bit there, to be honest. I was hoping he might be prone, but if he ain't, is he?
No, he's a machine, mate.
So, football then, weekend. We had the, might as well start off with the Brighton game, really, Brighton-Leicester. What was it? I think it was 2-1 in the end to Brighton. If I remember rightly, the predictions that we went for, I think I went for a 2-1, so I think I was bang on with that one. I think you come in with a 3-1 Leicester, so just a little bit out on that one, but I mean, it was the first game of the week.
I really thought Leicester would do them. I think it was a game they would look at and think, we need to pick up 3 points. I went 3-1 Leicester last week at the end of episode 2. We always do our predictions, but yeah, I was off the money with that one, and that is why I do not bet anymore. But yeah, no, top result for them. But Leicester, a little bit of a slow start to the season. They fell away at the end of last year. But yeah, I don't know. I really fancied them to pick up the 3 points.
Yeah, I think with Brighton, they're sort of compact. When I saw Brighton last season, there was lots of games where they won their games. There's a few games where they were sort of tight, and they was unlucky to lose some games, to be honest, with Brighton. I think Potter's got them playing in a half decent way. I don't know did Welbeck, did he turn up this season, or was it last season? Because that went under the radar. I didn't notice him turn up for Brighton. He scored their second goal.
I didn't, but I always rated him because he was at United, wasn't he, years ago?
Yeah.
And talking about injuries with Ronaldo not being injured, he seemed to be someone that would pick up a knock every week. But we put him in front of a goal, he would score your goals. Even when he played for England, I think he banged a few in. But no, I didn't know he was there, to be fair, until I was watching. I think it was Match of the Day a few weeks ago, and I saw him on there. But I think he will score goals.
Yeah, I think he's always had quality. He's always had a good touch. He's always got a good eye for goal. He's definitely got some skills about him. Definitely. Was he not at Arsenal as well? Was he at one point?
Yeah, he went to yeah. So he's at United, went to Arsenal, and then where did he go from Arsenal? I'm not sure, mate. He's one of those sort of players that he's just sort of like just not broken in and really cemented his place in obviously even well at United or at Arsenal. He's obviously floating about a little bit, but no, I think he'll score goals.
Yeah, and I think that is probably just down to the injuries, isn't it? I think if he could have sort of gone sort of without the injuries, I think he would have been up there scoring goals and a regular at any big club, really. So it's probably just a shame, really, for him in the injuries. A bit like Sturridge.
Oh yeah, Daniel Sturridge. He was a quality player. I think that's massive though in sport. Whatever sport you're in, especially the elite end, if you can remain injury free, it's a massive part of it. It helps your consistency, and obviously, yeah, if you're out for long periods, there's always going to be someone else that comes in to take your spot. Especially if you're a big club like United, Arsenal, they're going to have people that are ready to step in and step up.
Yeah, I think in that game in itself for the 2-1 to Brighton, I think Leicester come in with two late goals, 2 disallowed goals as well. So they was unlucky at the end of the day. If it could have went their way, I think one was two might. I think they both might have been offside. Barnes, I think, might have been offside on both occasions. So it was unlucky. Do you mean they're reeling away, thinking they got the equaliser once, and then referee pulls up VAR, no, 2-1 to Brighton, and only going to do it again, didn't they? It says no VAR. Do you mean? So it must have been a bit of a wound of being a Leicester fan, to be honest with all that. But
well, yeah, that's it. Especially after last season, obviously they missed out on the top 4, didn't they?
Yeah, I think you just wonder if it's a sort of like a bit of a continuation from last year's form. Do you mean there's something not quite right going on with them? I don't know if it's Vardy or not. Do you mean I think it might be time for him to move on at some point.
Yeah, he's been there a few years, but I think being under Brendan Rodgers, if there is anyone that can turn it, I wouldn't even say turn it around because it's early days, isn't it? We're 5 games in. So, it didn't go their way, but on another day, both of those goals are given and they win. But yeah, no, early days for them, but I would expect them to be top half of the table, fighting, not for the top 4. I don't think they're going to be strong enough this season, but it wouldn't surprise me if they finished above your lot.
Top 6. They're going to be around there, aren't they? They're going to be in and about there at the end of the day.
Yeah, I would have thought so, matey.
Yeah, so that's that one out of the way. Then obviously there was your lot, wasn't it? The West Ham Man U game. That was, do you mean that ended up what 2-1 to Man U? To me,
yeah, absolutely.
I went for a 2-2. If Noble would put the penalty away, that'd been another banker.
That would have been another.
Do you mean? You went for the 3-1, but yeah, so you get the win for that one.
Yeah, no, another 3 points, and yeah, West Ham at the moment they're looking strong. Winning midweek as well. Maybe that obviously didn't help them going into yesterday's game, but yeah, we look good going forward. Of course, Ronaldo gets another goal, and of course, the funny thing about it all is, West Ham gave Jesse Lingard the opportunity to sort of reignite his career, and then it goes and scores against them. And what a goal it was as well. What a goal.
Yeah, it was a banger.
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was brilliant. I'm still on the fence. Part of me sort of thinks that he should have gone because being in the United team with the depth that we've got this season, I just sort of think how many games is he going to play? But if he'd have gone to West Ham or, another team, he would have started every week. You've got a World Cup next year. But yeah, when he's on it, he looks as good as anyone on his day. And he's taken his form in, from last season straight into this season, and yeah, another win. But yeah, going back to that penalty incident, I don't know what you think, but when you've sat on the bench all game, you're cold, you've not got a feel for the game, and then all of a sudden, you're going on, you're taking a penalty, even though that his penalty stats are good. with all of his experience as well. But to come in at that part of the game, massive pressure. Of course, if he scores it, David Moyes is a genius, but we all know what happened. David De Gea saved it. His first penalty save in like 40-odd games as well. So, you know, the odds were sort of stacked against him. But yeah, you know, pulls out a save. Could be a massive 3 points coming into the season. I don't know. I just think like it reminded me of the World Cup situation, Euro, where, you know, puts the young lads on you know, Euro final. None of them had hardly a kick. I don't know. What do you think about that? Yeah.
Yeah, I think you've got to be sort of in the. Do you mean you've got to be in the groove? Really, I think you've got to feel the game. You've got to be in it. You've got to be running about. You've got to have the feel of the ball. Do you mean do you mean like you say, come off the bench? You haven't even stretched your legs, so I don't see him running up and down the pitch or anything. Do you mean? So
yeah,
he's straight on. You've got to do the walk. Do you mean?
It's big pressure. But again, you know, if he scores that, David Moyes is, you know, wonderful, but, you know, he misses. But no, you know, good result for us, 2-1. But I think West Ham, another strong side under Moyes. I think that he's been there a little while, second spell in charge, and he's really starting to make him look good. Some good signings as well. So I think they'll be right up there at the end of the season as well.
Yeah, I think he's got them playing like a unit, and do you mean they've got something about them? They know what they're doing. It seems like they've got a process. They've got a pattern of play that they're sticking to now. It's sort of like they know what they're doing as a team.
Yeah.
But yeah, to be honest, going back to Lingard, I think where you're saying like, is he going to get games or not? I'm thinking of myself, if he's scoring goals to West Ham and he's coming on and doing that, he's got every right to be playing at the end of the day. I don't. He should get ahead of Greenwood. He should get on there. He should be given this opportunity. If I was him and I've scored that goal to get the 3 points, I'd be wanting to start next weekend regardless. And I'd be saying to Ollie, "So look, you got to put me on. If I don't score, bring me off." Do you mean you can't just put me on the bench all the time?
Yeah, absolutely. I think as well. I think the manager obviously trusts him because, you know, it was his fault in midweek. You know, the sloppy pass where, you know, obviously we went on to concede. So for him to be back in there, you know, scoring another goal, I think Solskjaer must trust him. But yeah, you know, mate, if he keeps on scoring, keeps on playing well, then he's at least giving the manager a headache, isn't he?
Yeah, it's funny because I've always rated them as a player, and it's funny how you'll get like you'll get supporters from other clubs that will potentially rate one of your players more so than what the Man U fans do. Because there's plenty of Man U fans I've known who sort of haven't really backed him or sort of like 50-50 on whether he should play or not. Do you know what I mean? So, and it's funny when you speak to other supporters, maybe we don't see as much of him as what the Man U supporters do. But every time I've seen him play, he's done all right. So fingers crossed for him. Hopefully he does well, and hopefully he does push himself into the England squad again, because I think he's definitely a talent. I think he got a bit the Dele Alli. I think there's a bit of him where they get a bit too much money. They get ahead of themselves, and then maybe they get above their station a little bit. They forget what it was that got them there in the first place. That was the hard work. It was like the being grounded. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Getting in with the game. But yeah,
it's like the boxing, that analogy, isn't it? You know, when you're wearing silk pajamas, it's difficult to get up and do your 3-4 o'clock runs. But I think there might be an element of that, you know, especially I say especially, you know, it's hard to say, you know, we sort of speculate, but with Dele Alli as well, when you're on £100,000 a week as a young man and you've got a lengthy contract, you know, if you're not playing as well and you're not getting in the side, well, yeah, fair enough, you're still going to give me £100,000 a week. Do you know what I mean? So it's difficult. We sit here as fans and think, well, you know, you should be putting everything on the line week in, week out. But I suppose after a while, like any job, it is their job. And can anyone say in any job they do, you know, oh, yeah, I'll give 100% every week. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But of course, you know, they are footballers and everyone looks at them like, you know, you've got the dream job. You know, if you ask any young man, you know, what do you want to do if you could? I'd imagine 90% of it, yeah, I want to play football or some sort of sport, you know.
Yeah, £150,000 a week, turn out for Tottenham, lovely. I'd take it all day long.
That'd be a pay cut for you, mate, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be actually.
I've seen your pay slips, matey.
Hey, on the Tottenham front, we might as well get there and get it over and done with, I suppose. It's one of those games, isn't it?
Do you want me to edit that bit out?
Yeah. The thing is, I watched it, and when I saw the lineup, I thought, yeah, great. We got some creativity in there. I think, yeah, we can definitely give them a game. So. Yeah. First half, I thought, yeah, this isn't too bad. We're sort of we're pressing high. We did catch them out a little bit. I think they was expecting Spurs to sit back and counter, and I think that threw them a little bit for the first 20, 30 minutes. I think we had the opportunities to maybe get a goal, maybe sort of like change the dynamics of the game. It didn't quite happen, but then obviously we have got a second half turnaround. Kante comes on, Mount goes off, changes the game a little bit. I wouldn't say Kante, he was the reason for the change. I think when teams lose, there's sort of like moments within a game that can sort of define the way the game goes. And talking about Dele Alli earlier, I think again it's this case with Dele Alli's. He got too much money too soon. He sort of like had the boohoo, had the adverts, had the Ruby May bird, had the fortnight. Do you mean always sort of like from what you had from Milton Keynes to like grafting, playing hard, playing sort of second division football, first division football, proving yourself, then sort of getting yourself to a point where maybe you think, do you mean a little bit, not untouchable, but do you mean again that little bit of believing a bit too much of the hype. And if you just go back to, if you go to the corner where he's marking Thiago Silva for the goal, it's like he's got Silva, he knows he's this man, but then he gets lost. He's sort of like he gets more involved in looking at Thiago Silva and where he is, rather than thinking, right, where's the flight of the ball? Let me attack the ball. If he had sort of concentrated on the ball, the flight of the ball, attacking the ball, he could have got in there and done something. I think after that point, then it's sort of like it deflated him, and it shouldn't deflate you. You shouldn't like let one goal in and think, right, that's it, I'm going home. It shouldn't be like that, but it seemed that way. And then with the second goal, with the deflection, I think that was it. I mean, 2-0 down, chasing, and Chelsea are playing. Again, however much it hurts to say it, they're playing good football. Do you mean it is one of those? Do you mean again? I give credit where it's due. At the end of the day, if you're playing well and you're doing things great, if we play and do you mean you get some spawny goals and you beat us, different cat fish. I'm a bit upset, but really they played well. I think another issue was I think maybe they put too much attention into Lukaku, and maybe that's what Lukaku does. Maybe that's a strength that you don't really think of, like as opponents. He plays the game. All of a sudden, your two centre halves are concentrating more so on him, and the people are getting in around the side of him, which happened as well. We sort of drawing two defenders on him, leaving spaces elsewhere. But yeah, they was worth their win at the end of the day. Do you mean you got to give it to them? They played well. Come in, it could have been 5 or 6 in the last 10 minutes. Do you mean? But
it was definitely Tottenham's game plan to start quick, try and get an early lead and then, close up shop. However, like any great side, Chelsea weathered the storm, if you like. They sort of dug in, and and they look like a great side, especially with Lukaku on board now as well. Scored again midweek. They look strong. But Tottenham though, like, what's going on with Kane? Where was he? I think he needs to do more. Towards the end, he looked disinterested, and I don't know. I don't worry about Tottenham, but
yeah, I think it's the creativity at the end of it. I think you need to be fed to be able to score in the first place. And I think what he tried to do was after the Palace debacle, we thought, right, no creativity. Let's put Lo Celso and Ndombele in. And I think with Ndombele, I think he's cream. He's a quality footballer, but at the minute he ain't got the engine. And what I noticed was he plays in bursts. He played for 6 minutes, then he'd take a breather for 6 minutes. And you can't afford to take breathers in the Premiership. You can't afford to do it. There was a point where he did a forward run, lost the ball. He then had to track someone back into the right back spot. And by the time Dyer got the ball in the middle and Romero, he was just there saying, no, pass it that way. I don't want it. Do you mean? Where he was just flagging. So we just need a bit of an engine in there. I think if he can sort of like work on the fitness, then we've got a bit of quality in there, we can turn things around. But again, at the end of the day, you're playing Chelsea, and the likelihood is Chelsea will be in and around top of the league. They will be fighting Man City. They will be fighting Liverpool. And do you mean I think they will be up there for it at the end?
Yeah, I think even if Harry Kane had started the season quite well and was banging in goals, no one would have really expected you to beat Chelsea. A draw would have been a good result, but you know, we've seen them play Liverpool, we've seen them play Arsenal. They do look like a good side, and I think whoever finishes above them is going to win the league.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting because they've got Man City next, haven't they? So they've got Man City next, and yeah, that's Chelsea at home to Man City. So,
and what was our predictions for the Tottenham Chelsea one?
Tottenham Chelsea. You went for a 2-1. I went for a 3-2 Spurs, but I'm always going to go for that.
Yeah, that was with your heart rather than your head, I think, mate.
Yeah, that was really hard. So then let's move on for Spurs. Let's move on for them. We've got the Wolves game. So the Wolves played, didn't they? Wolves were against Brentford.
Yeah.
I went with a 2-1 win to Brentford on that one, so a bit unlucky. And you went for a 1-1 draw. So I think I come out tops on that one again. But that was a good game for Brentford. Brentford did play really well in that game against Wolves, and they sort of like they look like they're beginning to come out of that shell. Do you mean there's a little bit like it's like getting used to the surroundings of the Premiership? And all right, they done Arsenal first off, but then I think they start to realise like you ain't going to play Arsenal each week, and games will get harder. And then obviously the playing against the Wolves, Wolves. They were in and about it, but I think Tony is starting to enjoy himself. I think he's starting to realise that he could be a Premiership player. Obviously, he played for Newcastle, didn't he?
Yeah.
Earlier on in his career, and I think now maybe he's getting that little bit of confidence that he can. He can perform at this level. I think in all Brentford they did play well. They played some attractive football. I think it probably surprised Wolves, to be honest. And I think if with these games like Brentford, if you're not prepared to give it 100%, then you can get caught out by, I think. And I think that's what happened with Wolves at the end of the day. But good game.
Yeah, no, I think that they did well. I think did they lose last week? I'm just trying to remember. Was it a late goal that I can't remember. But yeah, no, sorry.
I think it was a late goal against them last week. So
was it? Yeah. So yeah, no, obviously they bounced back. And I'll be interested to see what they do this season.
Yeah. So then after that one, you've got the Burnley Arsenal game. So obviously, again, I was with this one. I was going with what I wanted to happen rather than what potentially would happen. And I went for Burnley to bully Arsenal 2-0. It was a 1-0 win to Arsenal in the end. And you put that one down as a 2-2 draw. So none of us got that one right, to be honest.
But that is why I don't bet.
But that game was again, I don't think Arsenal firing on all cylinders yet. That was another game, could have been a 50-50 game. It was the boy, what's his name, Odegaard.
Yeah.
He banged the free kick in for Arsenal, so it was a good goal for him. But again, I think that game could have went anyway. They're still yet to find their form, to be honest. We've got them next weekend, so we'll see what happens in that game. But I mean, it's a game where both sides need to find form, really, for next week.
Well, the Sean Dyche I think he signed a new contract last week. I don't know how long for. So I think as the season goes on, they sort of get strong. I think sometimes they seem to start slow and then sort of build up momentum throughout the season. But yeah, with Arsenal, not sure really. I don't know. They just the last couple of weeks have won 1-0. Not scoring many from open play, not scoring many at all as it goes. I'll be interested to see what happens with them as well, because I was not worried about Arteta, but I think he was a couple of defeats away from losing his job.
Yeah, and it's funny because he like I say, he was a quality player, weren't he, for Everton, and obviously he done his bit of sort of tutorage underneath Pep at Man City. And his Man City and Pep obviously spoke quite highly of him as a coach and so on. So you wonder what it is there. Is it just down to personnel at the end of the day at Arsenal? Obviously, you might have all the grandest plans in the world, but if you haven't got the personnel to carry out your plans, then you might always fall short.
thing is as well, when you're working under arguably the best manager in Europe currently, it's probably not easy, but it's easier to come across. Sorry, can you show our viewers that cup you got there, mate?
That's the Wonder Woman Cup.
Wonder Woman. Yeah. Yeah, no, Arteta. Yeah, no, when you're working under Pep, you know, easier to look great. But when you take your first job at Arsenal Football Club, not at a great time, I don't know. It is. I think it was always going to be an uphill battle for him. Is he the one like actually signing the players as well? I don't know. There's been a lot of speculation about is he the coach? Is he the manager? Is he picking the players? Because is it Edu that's the sporting director there now as well? I know he was getting a lot of stick, but yeah, I don't like to see managers lose their job, but I've got to be honest, it would surprise me if he's still there at the beginning of the next season. It really would. Yeah,
it's funny because like obviously they had the Wenger era, didn't they? And so, I mean, what did he do? He did 20 continuous Champions League places,
qualifications. Yeah.
And I remember like him coming to the end of his reign and sort of like all the Arsenal sort of, oh, get him out, do this, get him out. And do you mean I just at that point I was always thinking to myself, well, hold on, he's got you in a certain position at the last 20 seasons, and it's just one of those, isn't it? It's maybe sometimes the grass ain't greener, is it? And that's what they went for.
Well, if I don't, football fans as well, not patient. People want instant success. And of course, they had it for a long period of time when they had the Invincibles, had some great players, but he never seemed to be able to recycle teams. Yeah. They would make the odd sort of big sign in, but they were never able to. Look at United. We won things season in, season out. Obviously been different for a long time now since Sir Alex Ferguson retired, but. Yeah, I don't know. Like you say, sometimes be careful what you wish for. I think it was his time to go. Been there a long time, and they weren't improving. But I don't think they're finishing the top half of the table this season.
But again, back to Wenger. I just think obviously they just built the Emirates, and I think he was forever just paying off the Emirates, weren't he? I think that's part of the reason why he wasn't able to go into the market and sort of spend 100, 140, 150, 200 million a season. Do you mean to get these players in, like to kick on and get back to like where they were? And I don't think sometimes people don't sort of like take that into account. Do you mean you always want now, didn't you?
Well, that's it.
Future sometimes.
I don't think fans really are overly worried about the spreadsheet and how the balance is looking. They want players. Especially when you've got a lovely new stadium, it maybe is a little bit frugal. Maybe you need to get the checkbook out a little more and buy some players. I think he almost put too much trust in the youth. I think it is all well and good bringing youth players through, but there's got to be a balance throughout the squad. Yeah.
Hopefully Daniel Levy watches this podcast at some point and he realises that he's got to get the money out as well and spend from time to time. We can't just keep putting Tangangas through and the young skips through and all that. Like we do have to sort of like go out and spend some money at times as well. But hopefully, Daniel, if you're listening, if you're watching, then you know what you've got to do something, don't you?
Absolutely.
So,
you've got to spend money, mate. Especially in the modern era, mate. You can't win anything without getting your checkbook out.
Definitely. So then after that, you've got the Liverpool, haven't they? So that was a 3-0 to Liverpool against the Palace. You went for a 3-1, and I thought at that point, I'd match you with that one. I went for a 3-1 as well. So it was a goal out. Could have done with someone at Palace scoring, but Liverpool are what they do, aren't they? I think with Klopp, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get as long as you've got the first 11 that he wants to put out there, as long as he's got he's got his defenders, he's got the defenders that he wants to choose from, ain't got the injuries. I think they are always going to be there, aren't they? There's with Mane, Salah.
Yeah, Liverpool look strong. I think Mane scored his 100th Liverpool goal. I remember saying about it last weekend he was on 99. Yeah, they look good. Salah scored another goal. They look really good going forward. Obviously at the back with Van Dijk back in the team, they look strong. And Having said that, though, they did sort of look. They were on the ropes a little bit in the first half. You know, they had some Palace had some good chances, but you know, you need to put them in the back of the net. But Sahar looks good at the minute.
Yeah, I think what's it, Allison? He knocked one of the posts, didn't he? Early doors.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so I mean, again, I think it's when they go behind. That's when you sort of like you're seeing what the quality is. That's what, when you find out about your team, is if you go behind, how you can deal with it. And like at the end of the day, Spurs went behind, couldn't deal with it. Do you mean you've got to see what Liverpool like if they go behind? If Chelsea go behind to Man City by a goal or 2 goals, we'll see what Chelsea are like. I have a feeling if that does happen to Chelsea, I think they've got the mentality to turn it around. If it goes the other way with Man City next weekend, if Chelsea get the goals before Man City, they might just be like a mental issue in there, as if like, well, who's going to score the goals for us? But again, it's mentality in it in football. At the end of the day, it's like you get on the front foot, get the first goal, second goal. Do you mean the other team's chasing, and you've always got the opportunity for the third? And I think that's what happened with the Liverpool Palace game. You then got the Man City game, Man City Southampton.
Yeah, Man City made a massive mistake in my opinion. Looking at the season sort of unfolding again, you know, it's early days. They might go on a massive run. If anyone can do it, City can. But in my opinion, they made a massive mistake. Jack Grealish is a great player, and no doubt he's going to go on to do great things. But at this time, they needed an out and out goal scorer. You know, they got the likes of Phil Foden, Sterling, Mahrez. You know, Kevin De Bruyne is going to pop up with a few as well. But when a game is tight against Southampton, they need someone, and against Leicester last week as well, even though they won, it was a tight game. And yeah, Jack Grealish is going to win you a few free kicks, and I reckon he'll probably score between 10 and 15 goals this season, maybe. Yeah, they made a massive mistake. It still surprises me that they didn't just go all in for Harry Kane, because I think that's 35, 40 goals a season. It's a difference between coming second and winning the league, and also later stages in the Champions League. Yeah, I just think it's a massive mistake, matey.
Yeah, I mean, they got Jesus, but he's not an Aguero, is he? He's not an Harry Kane, and I think they was lucky to get away with a 0-0, because obviously the game itself was a 0-0. I went for a 2-1 Man City win. I think you went for a 3-0 Man City win. So and they was lucky.
Way off.
Yeah, they was lucky to get away with the points, really, because like obviously there was an incident in the game which I'll probably talk about a little bit more later. But obviously there was a penalty that sort of was given and then weren't given. So
yeah, I've listened to it on the radio.
Yeah, it could have been like a most definitely a different result. So again, we discussed it on the last 2 podcasts, sort of like their lack of centre forward and what they didn't do, what they should have done, no plan B, and it's more and more interesting now. If I'm a manager of Fiorentina and I've got Vlahovic, and Man City come to me in January, I'm going to say 130 million, because I know you need him. Do you mean?
They got away with it last season, but then you know they played with a false number 9, and that was the first time they did it. So you know maybe they got away with it. Teams couldn't figure them out, but I think this year, I think they're gonna struggle, because they've got creative players, but they need that clinical finisher, Harry Kane, that will put a ball in the back of the net and will win your matches. But I don't know. I just think, will they maybe make a move in January? You know, where if it comes to December and they're not up there, they're 4th, 5th. I wouldn't be surprised, mate. It's just bit the bullet and just go all in for him.
I think they will go out for someone in January. And again, it depends on where. You might look at Spurs and say, where are Spurs going to be in January? Are Spurs going to be performing up until January? Are they going to be in and around the mix? Are they going to be dropping points? Is Kane going to be looking sort of like disinterested?
Yeah.
At that point, will Levy say, well, what's the point of keeping you? Okay, I'll take 120. You just don't know what it is.
You don't know how things are going to pan out. But I think the longer it goes on where City aren't scoring freely like we expect them to, then people are just going to keep on talking about it. If they'd beaten Southampton 4-0 at the weekend, then yeah, okay, fair enough. Maybe they don't need him, but clearly they are struggling. Last couple of weekends have proved that. Against Leicester, it was tight. They didn't score against Southampton. They were lucky not to lose. So yeah, I think they made a massive mistake.
Yeah, but also I think that the other thing that you've got to take into consideration with teams like Man City, I think majority of teams that play against them will put a low block up against them. I mean, they're sit deep, and regardless of how many creative players you've got, do you mean when you've got like 11 people, you've got 10 behind the ball, and you've got them sitting deep and filling the holes and covering the lines, sometimes it can be quite hard to break a team down. And if you play Arsenal, or you play Liverpool, or you play someone who's open, Man City will get in behind you and they cause you problems. I think this is where it is an issue, from where the teams they do play will sit deep, will sit in, will hanker in, make it awkward for you to get through. And that is when you need someone who can pick the ball up on the edge of the box, turn around and smash it.
Like Kane's quite capable of, but I don't know. Yeah, they started slow last season, City, didn't they? Then they went on that mental run. They're unbeaten in like 20 odd games. So nothing will surprise me. But I do feel like they really needed a striker.
Yeah, got to start investing. So that was that one. Then you had the Norwich-Watford game. That was 3-1 to Watford. To be honest, with that one, I went for a 3-1 Norwich win. Well out on that one. I don't know what I was just thinking. Norwich at home. Watford travelling, will they be able to handle it? You went for a 1-1, so neither of us got that one, to be honest, again. But Watford, they look really dangerous in that game, but then maybe it's because they're playing Norwich. You wouldn't say Norwich are naive, would you? But I think what they are is that they played an attractive football in the Championship, and they tried to be open and expansive in the Premiership. They tried it last season, didn't they? They're open, expansive. That they look nice to watch, but you can catch them out. And Watford did that with their pace. They really done.
Yeah, Watford looks strong, but talking about Norwich, five games, 5 defeats, isn't it?
Something like that. Yeah.
I think it's 5 defeats, and they obviously, to be fair to them, they're stuck with that Mr. Farker.
Yeah.
And I think unfortunately, it's going to be the same old story from this year. It doesn't look good for them. Five games, 5 defeats, and Watford and that they look strong, but they are games that they'll be targeting, thinking we need 3 points here. They no doubt they're going to lose to the big boys, your Chelsea's, your Cities, and United's. But when you're being beaten by Watford quite comfortably, I think it's only going to be the same old story. I don't see them staying up, even though it's early days. I just can't see them staying.
Yeah, I think what they lack a little bit of steel, sort of like in the middle of the park. They lack some sort of like aggression. They are all sort of like pretty footballers, pretty players, and they need someone. They had Oliver Skip last season in the Championship. He did really well in the Championship for him. He gets around the park, he gets in the spaces, he breaks things up. And I think they obviously Skip went back to Spurs, and I think Billy Gilmore, from Chelsea, I think he's gone to Norwich, and I think they was hoping he would be able to sort of like get in that role. But again, he's a cute player.
Very young as well, isn't he?
Yeah. Still. He's not aggressive. He's not someone who go in and sort of smash you, give you a dead leg, and make you think twice about going in for a challenge, is he?
I wouldn't have thought so, but I just feel like it's going to be a long season for them. They need a plan B. It's all well and good playing nice football, but I think in the Championship as well you get away with it. But in the Premiership, different kettle of fish. Players will score if they will capitalise on mistakes. So I don't think they're going to stay up. In all honesty, I really don't.
And obviously we got the Villa game was next, and that was 3-0. Yeah, 3-0 in the end to Villa. That was over Everton. I went for a 2-1. You went for a 2-2. So again, I get the point there. Again, I was all right on the predictions. That was a good game, to be honest. The Everton Villa game. I watched about 70 minutes of it, and Everton were in there. I mean, they was in there. There wasn't. I wouldn't be worried playing Everton at the minute, to be honest. I'd be more worried about playing Villa than Everton. But It was like they was tight, and then I think Villa got about, I think they got their 3 goals in about within 18-20 minutes. I think the first goal from Matty Cash, I think his name's Matty Cash, right back. He got played in. He absolutely levered the ball in. Then I think Villa had a corner, swung it in, and I think it went in off the French boy, Dagny, scored an own goal anyway.
Lovely pronunciation.
Yeah, it's a French boy anyway. And then the final goal was Leon Bailey, the boy that they got from a German outfit. I think Spurs were in for him at one point, a Jamaican boy, and he's sort of like, I think a ball got played over the top. He's headed it on from the halfway line, and he's just run onto it and absolutely mullered it past the keeper on the volley. Lovely goal.
Really, yeah, mate. That was quality. Yeah, he banged over to him, goes on, dink in the head, brings it under. Well, I don't know if he has a touch then, but yeah, puts it in the buries it, mate. Brilliant finish.
Yeah, foot clean through it. I think Villa. Ollie Watkins, I think he's not a bad player, considering he was like an Exeter City player, Exeter City forward, and I think he's an handful at Aston Villa. I think they got something about them. I don't think they'll break into the top 6 this season. I think they might nick maybe a Europa Conference League spot this season if they're lucky. I think they might get in that far, but I don't know if they get into the top 6. But I enjoy watching Villa. Do you mean they got something about them?
Yeah, great result. Yeah, they lost Jack Grealish, of course. However, it gives someone else the opportunity to step up and make a name for himself.
Yeah, definitely. And then it was just the Newcastle game.
Friday night football.
Yeah, 1-1 that one was, wasn't it? Leeds Newcastle. Leeds got the early goal. I think it was a cross, wasn't it? I think it was swung across in, and it sort of like evaded everyone in the box. I think a Leeds player run onto it and sort of dummied it, went through his legs and just went past the keeper. It was one of those ones. But that was quite an entertaining game. Is it Saint Maximilian or the Newcastle boy? He reminds me of Traore. He's sort of like got a bit of pace and power about him. End product might not be that great, but on this occasion he managed to sort of get into the box, cut across the box, keep going across the box, shimmy, feint, and then he ended up banging one in the bottom corner. So that weren't a bad game to watch neither. In all honesty, I thought the weekend's football weren't too bad. Do you mean that there was some good highlights from the football over the weekend? Weren't bad at all.
Some really good goals as well. But yeah, no, I think they both would have settled for a point. I know the Newcastle fans ain't particularly happy, but when are they really? But yes, Steve Bruce has got a big job on his hands, and he's another manager. I feel like he's a couple of losses away from maybe even losing his job. But yeah, no, great weekend of football. Some really, really good goals as well.
Yeah, with Steve Bruce, it's one of those. It's sort of like it's a hard gig, isn't it, up there at Newcastle? Do you mean? And he doesn't strike me as like as a manager in general. I know he's been sort of like the lower leagues and he's been around that, and he as a player he was just sort of like, do you mean it was Steve Bruce when he sort of him and Pallister, nothing about him. It's always surprised me that he is a manager. I think he's not destined to get in Europe and win cups with anyone. It's a weird one. I think that is it. What's his name? What's his name? Ashley? Is it Mike Ashley?
Mike Ashley, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he's got the money to go out and get someone half decent in at the minute. Or I think Bruce is he's in there until Ashley sells it. I think that's what it is. I don't think he can get anyone in, can he? Because he's trying to sell.
It's a hard job for any manager. You put Pep in charge of Newcastle. Would they do any better than they would under Steve Bruce? I think with not a big budget and a city that demand results and a way of playing football, I think it's always going to be a tough job. Sometimes he does these interviews and he looks so stressed out, and I think, well, what are you doing it for? He's clearly financially very well off.
Yeah.
And you think, why sometimes? But yeah, I think any manager would struggle at Newcastle.
It amazes me though, if you think like the amount of people they get in there week in, week out. Do you mean like the revenue they have there? This, do you mean this? Actually, he must be siphoning a bit out there. Do you mean, because they make the money, don't they? Every weekend it's packed up there at St James's Park.
Football's massive up there, isn't it? It's almost like, you know, it's like a cultural thing, isn't it? You know, everyone in Newcastle seems to follow the football team. I've spoken to a few people that live up that way, and they all love it. And it's almost like if they win, they will have a great week. If they lose, not so good. But yeah, no, it's a massive football club. You know, really loyal fans. It's always a great atmosphere up there. And I'd like to see them, you know, get into the Champions League places or get into Europe. But I think at the moment, a long way to go.
Yeah, I think it's like I said. I think it's down to because there was a point where he was going to sell him, weren't he, to some sort of like Middle Eastern sort of dudes, but I think there was a little bit of hoo-ha, wasn't it, about they didn't pass the due diligence, or there's something weren't quite right about them. I don't think they was deemed ethically correct to go in there and take over, which was a bit of a a bit of a shame for the Geordies. But then it's one of those. I'd go back and think like Keegan at those days, Les Ferdinand, Sprilia, Shearer. That's when you think of like Newcastle being the team, and it's a shame, really, isn't it? They have the moments, and then it just takes a while for you to get back to where they were.
It is, however, you know, it's eras, isn't it? You know, not one team always going to be at the top. You know, in 10 years' time, they might be, you know, winning the league, but it is what it is at the moment for them. I can't see things changing until they sell. There's always a lot of speculation about them selling with some consortium that's put a bid together, but it never seems to happen for them.
Nah. Anyway, it's one of those, isn't it? Anyway, that's the Northerners for you, to be honest. Anyway, but bar the Northerners, then obviously normally what we like to do, we have the 3 picks, don't we? We sort of like we'll talk about 3 sort of events that have happened within the weeks, anything sporting wise, really, whatever sort of got you thinking. And I think one of the things for me was the if we have a look at the Man City Southampton game. Do you mean, I think there was a penalty during that game. I think Des Walker's gone in, he's cleaned someone out. Do you mean, it should have been a stone cold penalty to Southampton. It was theirs for the taking. Walker's he sent off. He's off you go, red card, off you go, son, you're off. Penalty for you. And the next minute, ref's going over having a look at the bar. And he's going, no, sorry, Walker, come back on, no penalty. You know full well, 100%, if that had been up the other end of the pitch and it had been Southampton fouling Sterling or Jesus, it would have been full stop penalty. They just got blatantly robbed. It was just out and out of order. And like, I hear like the little clubs, and you hear them bang on about, oh, we don't get results go our way. You hear it time and time out. You hear like Arsenal, Burnley, Leicester complaining that the little clubs don't get the things go their way. And it was just another example, I think, of like the little club getting sort of like a backhand, really. So look, sorry, mate, little club, no rights for you, bang out of order, out and out robbed. That was my first point. I don't know if you saw it or heard anything about it.
I was listening to radio as it goes when I was I was listening to radio. I don't know what I was doing, but I think sometimes Kyle Walker is a bit like a Ferrari without a steering wheel. He's just all over the place. When he's on it, he's on it. He's played really well for England recently, but yeah, I think City were unlucky to even get a draw out of that game, mate. Yeah,
definitely. So that was my first point. My second point, I don't know where I read it. It might have been TalkSport or something on the radio, but it was, is Ollie going to be a gunner soon, shall we say? And I think what they was talking about was, we've got to a point now where, man, you've got Ronaldo, you've got Fernandes, you've got a decent team around you now. I think they're expecting to actually do something this season. And I think what the concern was is, as soon as if you hit a dip and you hit 2, 3, 4 bad results, it always seems to be the same thing. Sort of like the knives are out for Ollie. Is he the superstar manager? He's not a superstar manager, is he? At the end of the day, And I think it's a little bit like Pochettino and PSG. And we're not saying that Man U have got the same sort of caliber as PSG, but it's the same with Pochettino. If he doesn't win something with what he's got there, do you mean there'll be a lot of people saying, look, the job's not right for you? And what do you think about Ollie and that sort of remarks? Do you think it's fair, or?
I think when you're a Man United manager, then you are always going to be expected to deliver. I think when he first came in, you know, it was almost like to please the fans. We'd been through David Moyes, Van Gaal, Mourinho. We was, you know, just sort of grinding out these managers, and they weren't really doing too much. He came in, you know, the fans were. Well, I was happy, you know, he's a popular character. But when you look at his pedigree, what he managed, was it Cardiff? That seemed like a lifetime ago now. He's a manager of Cardiff, and I think he was doing a bit in Norway. But I think after last year, losing the Europa League final to Villarreal, which we really should have won, I was surprised. I was a little bit surprised it didn't go then. There's a lot of speculation about him going. They've almost, you know, put their trust in him again, and, you know, given him the support he needs with the likes of, you know, obviously getting Ronaldo in. And, you know, Ronaldo's not come to United to win trophies, you know, in 2 seasons' time. It's time to win trophies now. So yeah, I think you're right. If we do go on a little bad spell, lose 3 or 4 games, or just don't get the results that we should, it wouldn't surprise me if he went, unfortunately.
Yeah, cutthroat business football is at the end of the day. And if you look at what he's doing, he's not doing particularly bad. Do you mean I'd swap places for where Man U are on Spurs at the minute, and for what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's doing? But it's just one of those, isn't it? It's just like, just because you haven't been manager of AC Milan or Juve or a Barcelona manager, it's like you're not accepted as a quality manager. And that's just, I suppose that's the harsh thing about football at the end of the day. I hope he does all right, to be honest, because it would then, it might break the mold. It might give people the opinion, or directors the opinion, that you don't need to go out and get someone who's won it with Real Madrid, someone who's won it with Porto, someone who's just, do you mean, it might be a case that if he can do the business and get a result, who knows, if he wins like a Champions League, or if he does something like that, then his place might be cemented, you might think. But I think he's always got that thing over his shoulder, and he's always got that little thing. 3-4 bad results, and the press they turn it. Is he the right man? Is he a big player? That was one of my sort of like my second really thought, and the third one was a bit about Greavesy, but I was going to let you sort of touch on that really, because I know we was both going to say it.
Yeah, I think it's obviously, yeah, firstly it's incredibly sad, you know, football legend, football icon, you know, wins the World Cup of England in '66, and, you know, his goal ratio as well for England, I think, is like, you know, 44 goals in 57 games with no penalties as well. So incredible player. I've been hearing tributes come in about him all day long, and, you know, it sounds like not only was he a great footballer, he was a great man. And yeah, no, football lost a legend really over the weekend. But of course he was, you know, done a lot for you, a lot at Tottenham as well.
Yeah, so I think it was 661 appearances in total for Spurs, Chelsea, and West Ham. 466 goals out of that. He did 379 games for Spurs and scored 266 goals. So, do you mean if you was to put a price on him these days, he's 140, 150 man player, and easily it's got to be.
Yeah, no, he's yeah, incredible. And you think as well, like the pitches back then, they're not like the pitches they are now. You think like the way footballers are looked after as well now, not the same. But yeah, no, really sad when I heard the news. But, you know, he I suppose, you know, great life, you know, playing football as a job, done stuff on telly after. But yeah, no, he goes down in history, doesn't he, as one of the, you know, all-time greats.
Yeah, I think he's the leading player for England for hat-tricks. I think he's got 6 hat-tricks for England. So again, and do you mean that record's been around there for a while? And you think we've had some quality forwards. We've had Sheringham, we've had the likes of Fowler, we've had Owen, we've had Shearer, we've had Rooney. Do you know what I mean? And they still ain't sort of hit that, being able to do that. So yeah, it just goes to show you what sort of feat it was. I remember I used to be, obviously I'm a bit older than you, Tom, by a couple of years, but I used to watch the Saint and Greasy show. Do you know what I mean, on a
Yeah, they were
Saturday.
talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that was back in the day when we didn't have no Sky Sports. We had Grandstand and we had a World of Sport, and that was about it. But yeah, so yeah, quality man, legend, and yeah, sad that he's sort of no longer with us. But yeah, quality, absolute quality player.
Yeah, sadly missed. Obviously, condolences go out to his family, of course.
Yeah, most definitely. So again, about your picks, really.
Right.
What springs to mind?
When I think of it, it just makes me laugh. But did you see the 4 fight versus some arm wrestler from, I think he's Canadian? Did you see that?
Yeah, so I didn't see it. I've seen bits of it on YouTube. I've seen the sides of the two people, but was it better than Hay and his mate?
It was awful. Honestly, the 4 bloke, he looked like he'd done a little bit of boxing. He moved for a big bloke, he moved relatively well. But the Canadian that he was fighting, Devon, I can't remember his surname. I didn't actually watch the full fight. There's no way I was going to pay for that. I'd have rather watched Love Island. But this sorry.
You watch Love Island, don't you?
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Every season, mate. I can't wait for it. That with me Corrie and all that, yeah, mate. Honestly, this bloke that he was fighting, this Devon, he was running in. But as he was running in, he was like screaming. He's like, ah.
No.
Oh, honestly, you watch it back.
I'll watch it now.
There were people ringside. I watched one YouTube video. There's obviously someone just recording it from their phone, and you could hear people ringside laughing. And all he needed was this Devon was his handbag in there, and it'd have been well away. He got stopped. I think it was in the first round by quite a big shot. And then after, he was just a mental interview. He was like, "Yeah, man, I'm just so happy to be here, man. I want to do it again, man." And he's like, "Did I get a cut?" He's like, "Nah." "Oh, I wanted a cut, man." And it was just like, yeah, honestly.
Did it just go to 1 round? Did it?
Yeah, 1 round.
I saw the 4th fella. He looked like it was some sort of like some mutant on steroids.
He was a former heavyweight lift, like the strongman.
Right.
He was meant to be fighting Eddie Hall, but Eddie Hall's injured.
Right.
I think he's torn one of his biceps.
So he went for the arm wrestler.
So he went for the arm wrestler that couldn't fight his way out of a paper bag, mate. He was terrible. But it did give me a great idea. I was thinking when we get to a certain level of viewers or whatever, maybe we can just make out we've had a row, and I can call you out. We can go and have a fight in Dubai and cash in.
Or maybe just call out Goffey or someone like that. Well, you can call out Goffey. I'll call out the other one, Adrian Durham.
I license these guns, mate. Yeah. We could do like a tag team thing. But yeah, no, I thought it was funny more than anything watching these two go at each other. But yeah, it was in Dubai. I'm sure they got a nice payday for it, so why not? But that was my first pick. Made me laugh more than anything. Number 2 was Jimmy Greaves. Obviously, already spoken about that. I did hear as well. Number 3, Arsene Wenger. He's trying to get it so there's a World Cup every couple of years, and I've not heard loads about it. I only heard about it today on Talk Sport. I think it's ridiculous. I think that the World Cup, there's a build up to it, like the Olympics. Every 4 years, you go through qualifying. There's probably young lads out there now that are playing in their academy that in 4 years' time will be playing for England. Doing well. Yeah. I don't think it happens. Because obviously there couldn't be a Euro, so obviously Arsene Wenger's obviously needs to be doing something, of course. But yeah, they were my 3 picks. So yeah, the 4 boxing. The Jimmy Greaves, of course, very sad, and Arsene Wenger, of course.
Yeah. So what is the reason? But what is Wenger's reasoning behind?
To be honest, mate, I only heard about it. I was listening to it on the break today at work, so I didn't really hear the full ins and outs. Simon Jordan and Jim White are talking about it. I'm not 100% sure why he's trying to promote them playing every 2 years. I don't think it will happen. I think it's ridiculous. But Yeah, no, I just wanted to bring it up because it surprised me. I think the way it is at the moment, it's every 4 years is it's long enough, but it comes around quickly.
Yeah, I think it was trying to sort of go along the lines of like game congestion. I think he was trying to work out a way of doing something where you ain't playing so many games and you just have more elite competition. But do you mean, I think we like it as it is, don't we? Like,
I think as well, if you had it every 2 years, if you win the World Cup, does it almost take the
gloss?
Yeah, it does, because okay, yeah, they won it, but there's another one in 2 years' time, So no, it doesn't sit right with me. I don't think it will happen, mate.
Nah, definitely not. Yeah, no. So that was the 3 picks then. So yeah, interesting picks there. I suppose the only other thing to do is get on with the predictions for next week for the football.
Wrap those up.
Quite happy with my predictions and my results for the week just gone. Like, puts me top of the table, as we've already discussed, on the little 5 points to 3. But yeah, the games coming up then this week are, first one, obviously Chelsea, Man City. What are you saying?
Do you know what? I think I'm going to go 2-0 Chelsea. I think, yeah, 2-0 Chelsea.
Yeah, I'm going to go 3-1 Chelsea for that one. Man U Villa is the next game.
2-0 United.
This is at Man U as well. So
yeah,
to Villa. I think might struggle there. I think we might have a draw. I think that one we might have I'm going to go 1-1 draw. Man U Villa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go 1-1 draw. Then we've got Everton Norwich.
2-1 Everton.
Yeah, lightweight Norwich, innit? Everton, Richarlison. 2-0.
They want to bounce back as well, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I got a 2-0 with that one. Next one, this might be a dirty game. Leeds West Ham at Leeds.
Oh, that's got goals written all over it.
Yeah.
2-2.
I'm going to go 3-2 West Ham, away win for that one. Okay. Leicester Burnley.
Leicester need a win. They want to bounce back. Burnley come off a loss. 1-1.
1-1, yeah. I'm going to give Leicester that one. Going to give Leicester the win. Going to give Leicester a 2-0 win.
All right.
Next one then, Watford Newcastle.
I don't know. Watford looked good at the weekend. You never know what Newcastle team are going to turn up. I'll go 2-1 Watford. Yeah,
go 1-0 Watford. That one.
Okay.
Brentford Liverpool.
Oh, 3-1 Liverpool.
Let's go 2-2. Brentford Liverpool 2-2. Yeah. We've got Southampton Wolves. Wolves off the back of a defeat. Southampton a draw.
1-0.
Draw.
1-0.
1-0. Southampton 2-1.
Okay.
And then the biggest game of the season.
Tottenham.
Arsenal-Tottenham at Arsenal.
North London derby. You really need a result. Arsenal. That's a tough one, mate. That's a tough one. Neither of you look great. Let's just be honest. There'd be so much build up to this, but it probably end up being a 0-0. I'll go 1-1.
I'm going to go 3-1 Tottenham.
Okay.
I can see that being that. I'm quite confident in that one. I was going to say 3-2, but I think we'll do them 3-1.
You've been confident the last couple of weeks, mate, but that's third time lucky.
If you keep being confident, there's going to be a point where you're going to be confident and win as well, isn't it?
Well, yeah, law of averages. You'll be right one week.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to go 3-1 Tottenham for that one, definitely. Okay. And that's pretty much a roundup of the week's football, what's gone on, pick of the week, predictions for the week to come. anyone who's listening, if they think they can sort of get better predictions than what we can, more than welcome to put your prediction in comments. I'm more than happy to have a look at what you got, see what you got, really.
Yeah, I'd just like to add to that as well. Yeah, if you are watching this now, if you listen this far into it, thank you very much. Sorry if the sound has been a little bit in and out on this one. We've had a few issues. But yeah, no, if you're watching, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications, the little bell, so every time we upload, you get a notification. You don't want to miss this on a Monday night. There's nowhere else you need to be. And of course, yeah, go down below in the comments, put your predictions down, or you even just tell us who you support and how you think they're going to get on at the weekend. And yeah, another one completed. I can't believe how quick this is going. 3 episodes already.
Going well fast, Tom. Well fast.
Time flies when you're having fun, mate.
It does, Tom. Right. I think on that note, that's probably where we can wrap it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you again, and I hope you have a good evening.
You too, Tom.
And
I'm going to have a cheese and bacon sandwich. That's what I'm going to have now.
Oh, yeah?
Cheese and bacon toasty.
Nice one.
And I'm going to have another cup of tea in the Wonder Woman cup.
On that though, mate, have a good evening. Enjoy your sandwich.
You too, mate.
And I'll get this uploaded.
Lovely. Ladies, mate. Cheers.
All right. See you later, everyone. Bye-bye.